Hello and welcome everybody to another installment of Golden Gooner TV. I'm here to preview the big one, the North London derby. Arsenal against Spurs at the Emirates, 3 p.m. kickoff Central African time, and man oh man, can I just tell you guys how excited I am. We've been in good form. I think besides the PSV game, I think yes, we haven't maybe been at our scintillating best, but we've been winning. We're unbeaten so far this season, so I think confidence would have been high anyway. But the fact that we're going into it on the back of that PSV performance, on the back of Martin Odegaard just signing a new long-term deal yesterday, I think the Emirates is going to be buzzing. So I'm fully expecting us to continue the tradition of beating Spurs at the Emirates. I think that I would be very disappointed if we don't, because I think, yes, Spurs have improved. I think they're playing a much better brand of football under ANGE, Postecoglou. But I also think that we are much further in our process compared to Spurs. I think if we are any way serious about competing for any trophies, any titles, then we're certainly going to need to put Spurs to the sword. I think we are a much more cohesive unit than Spurs. I think quality-wise, I think yes, Spurs have a few good individuals, but I think overall we are the better side. I think we've got more strength in depth. So I'm fully expecting Arsenal to do the most tomorrow and actually get a convincing win. I don't think it will be to the point where we completely maul Spurs, but I don't think it'll be as tight as maybe Spurs fans. I think we'll have a convincing win against Tottenham tomorrow. Obviously now there's been a lot of debate about team selection and who to play, and obviously it's a derby game, and obviously I'm gonna go to the Ramsdale versus Raya debate. And for me personally, if ARTETA didn't start Raya in midweek, I would have maybe had an inclining to go for Ramsdale this weekend. But at the same time, I feel like ARTETA set the gauntlet for Ramsdale. Listen, Raya's coming in now, and you're going to have to earn your spot. And some people say it might be harsh, but at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing. Whether Ramsdale will be happy to admit it, but he wants Arsenal to perform well and to win. And maybe, yes, he won't be as key part of it as he would like to be, but ultimately the team success comes before anyone else. I think, that's why we got rid of Emre, because it wasn't because Arsenal fans had anything personal against him. I just think that he wasn't taking us in the direction that we needed to. So ultimately, when it comes to team selection and picking the players that are going to do the job, I think that's what Arteta is there to do. He's there to make those decisions. He's not there to do it on sentiment and feelings. It's there to, okay, what do we want to achieve as a football club? And if Raya is going to give us that, and Arteta believes that Raya is going to give us that avenue opportunity to be a better team, then by all means, I'm going to back him. Other than that, I have a weird inclination that I would probably maybe go for Tommy Yasu at right back. That's just my personal feeling. I think it also depends if Spurs play Richarlison or if they don't. I think if I would feel more comfortable Son matching up against Tommy Yasu than I would against White. I think White just got a bit exposed during the week. He didn't have a bad performance at all. I'm not slating Ben White. I think I even called him Mr. Consistent. I just think for this game and in terms of squad rotation, I think that Tommy Yasu has shown us that he is at the levels that he was before his injury and before he lost his place in the team. I think he's getting there slowly. So I would throw Tommy in. But if White starts, I've still got no issue with that at all. Midfield, I would probably go Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard. But I also wouldn't mind Arteta going Rice, Odegaard and Smith Rowe. And a lot of people be like, Smith Rowe, he hasn't started, but I think when you saw what Smith Rowe did when he came on, and I know people say, but Vieira's been doing it consistently, I get it. But in a North London derby, and we've seen what Smith Rowe can do. And people say, but you've seen what Ramsdale can do. Yes. My opinion, Smith Rowe and Vieira, there isn't much difference. Whereas with Raya and Ramsdale, you can see that there is a bigger step up in terms of comfortability on the ball, as well as distribution. Also, I think handling it looks more assured. So I would probably either go with Jorginho in midfield or Smith Rowe. Look, I expect Havertz to start, but that's what I would like to see. And then up front, I think I trust Jesus and Saka, but I also wouldn't mind seeing Havertz go into the number 9, and then you pushing Jesus out to the left. Arsenal, my team, I'm a gunner for life, but I also would be a bit ignorant and arrogant to not speak about the opposition. I think Spurs have improved a lot under ANGE. I think they're playing a lot more attractive football. They look more fluid, they look more dangerous, and they look more assured in what they're doing. Like, the players know what to do in the system. So they have a lot of threats. I think Son is an obvious one that comes to mind, but I think their midfield is what actually is their biggest strength. I think they've got a very good, solid midfield when you look at Maddison, Basuma, and Sa. I think that is a very, very strong midfield. I think you got two absolute tanks in there in Sa and Basuma, and then you got Maddison, which has the glass. Look, Basuma for me, I think is probably their most important midfielder, because I don't think they've got another midfielder that can do what he does. I think he can break up the ball, he can carry, he's good on the ball, you know. Maddison is good on the ball, but he can't break up play. Sarr can break up play. He's good on the ball, but not on the Basuma level. So I think that's where it'll be very interesting to see how Spurs perform in the midfield, if they allow us to be on the ball, or do they try and control the game and get on the ball more? Because they've got the players that can do that. They've got players that can hurt us from the midfield. Defensively, I think they're also looking quite assured. I think the new centre back that they've added, the Dutch youngster Mickey, I think it's Van der Ven or Van der Ben. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I think that he has made them look more balanced. You know, same with Arsenal, with Saliba and Gabriel. That left foot, right foot just seems look like got more balance. Udogie looks like a very good fullback. I think I've seen a lot of him this season, and I like what I see. And then obviously Pedro Porro, I think he's also, you know, he's a good player. But I do think that Arsenal still have enough to hurt Spurs. Look, Spurs have improved, but I don't think they're at our level yet. I think Arsenal and City, and I would even sneak Liverpool in there, are probably on a different level compared to the others like Chelsea, United, Spurs, you know, in terms of the big six. So that's just my opinion. And this just brings me into my next point, the key battles. So I think it depends where, for example, I see Son playing tomorrow, but I think whoever matches up against Son will have an important job. I think Son is their biggest threat offensively. But in the midfield, I think we need to see whose midfield is going to be stronger, you know, and I think that's where Arteta's got a very good, big decision to make, because ultimately it's like, what do you expect from Spurs? That's the thing. We don't know what to expect from Spurs. You know, Ange is saying that they're going to go for it, they're going to be like they always are, but he could just be playing poker, and then they don't, and then we don't match up with them in terms of how to counter them. So I think the midfield battle will be key. I think, you know, you probably have Basuma kind of trying to marshal Odegaard. You'll have Sarr more against either Havertz or whoever's playing the left 8, and then you've got Maddison against the 6, whether it's Jorginho or Rice, and though the number 6 will have a very important job in stifling Maddison. And then I think also fullbacks. I think Paro against probably Trossard, but then you've got Udogie against Saka. I think those will be two key battles. And then I think for me, the player that I think will decide the match for us is Jesus, and that's against the centre-back pairings. And if I'm Jesus, I'm going up against Romero. Not because I think Romero's a weaker defender. I think he started the season brilliantly. I just think that he gets a bit emotional. I think Jesus can play on that. It's a derby, you know, emotions will be high. You know, he does tend to commit fouls here and then. I think Jesus needs to play on that. I think if I'm Jesus, I'm targeting Romero for most of the game. I think that's where he might get the most joy out of the two centre-backs. Then we've got another battle, which is the battle of the managers. You've got Mikel Arteta, and you've got Ange Postecoglou. And look, I think their styles are similar, not the same. I think they both play expansive football. They try to play football in the right way. So I think it will really depend on, you know, Spurs' approach. I think we know what Arsenal are going to do. I think everybody knows what we try and do at home. Even away, I think we try to control the game, break teams down, you know, be clinical, be efficient. But then it's like, what does Spurs do? Does Ange really say what he means and sticks with it when he fields his team tomorrow? Or does he slightly tinker his system and think to himself, you know what, a point at the Emirates is not a bad point for Spurs at all. I think if Spurs take a point, it's actually 2 points drop for Arsenal and a point gain for Spurs, if you're looking at the history of the fixture. So I'm very intrigued to see what kind of lineup and strategy Ange uses tomorrow, and how he plans to stop Arsenal playing. Because I think Spurs are better on the ball compared to last season, but I think we will still control majority of the possession. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of approach he has. Does he sit back, you know, a bit, or does he try and, you know, press Arsenal up high, which I think might play into our hands. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see about that tomorrow. And then lastly, my score prediction. I've been seeing a lot of score predictions in the various podcasts and you know, videos that I watch online. I've seen Turkish from AFTV say 5-1 in the Big Six. You know, funny enough, I had a weird feeling about us, like, you know, doing another 5-2 from the back in the day, and I can see Spurs scoring. I wouldn't be shocked if Spurs scored 1 or 2, but I can easily see us scoring 5. And people might say, why would you think that? I just think that we have enough firepower, both in our 11 and on the bench, to score more than Spurs. I don't think Spurs have that many avenues to score. You know, yes, they've got dangerous players in Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, but like, if you're looking at Arsenal, I think you've got Trossard who's in great form. You know, in 2-2, you've got Saka who's in great form. You've got Jesus who's being back in form. You've got Odegaard that's on form. On the bench, you start having Nketiah. You've got Nelson. You've got Smith Rowe. You've got Havertz, who I think can score. Yes, he hasn't been the greatest at all, but he can score. I think we've got more to hurt Spurs. So, look, my prediction, I'm going for 3-0 Arsenal. I know I've just said the Spurs can score, but I do think that we will see Arsenal step up to the level that is expected of them. And I'll be very disappointed if we don't. Look, if we can get a 2-0 convincing win, I'm fine. But ultimately, I would like to see Arsenal really put a team to the sword this season, and especially when it's your rival, a derby game, and so it can be a statement win. We've got City in about 2 weeks. Get a good win against Spurs at the Emirates. Go unbeaten until the City game. You don't know what position that puts you in, but lose against Spurs, you maybe get knocked out of the Carabao Cup midweek. Then it filters into the Bournemouth game. Then you go to Lens the week of the City game, and then you don't know, maybe a bit shaky. I think that we need to set the standard for how we want to perform at the Emirates, especially in big games against Spurs tomorrow. It's a derby, and people say, but form goes out the window. I don't buy that. I think that we are in good form, and I don't expect us to drop down our levels. I think we need to be consistent and just, like I said, put Spurs to the sword, and yeah, I'm predicting 3-0 Arsenal. So yes, guys, that brings me to the end of my preview. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, and I'll be bringing you my post-match thoughts tomorrow after the game, and I will be doing a live watch-along on the channel. So, peace.